Hello fellow gamers, I'm Christopher Chrisman of Retro Game Network, and coming up next, a look at last week's retro video game news on the RGN Files for the week ending Saturday, July 20, 2019. In the RGN Files this week, Playmoji has made the announcement of the games that are to be included with their TurboGrafx 16 expansion module on their upcoming Polymega console. The multi-system is slated to be compatible with a variety of CD-ROM-based video game consoles of the 1990s and will offer a variety of expansion modules for those that wish to add cartridge or card-based gaming to the system that the individual may collect for. The device will allow you to play CD-ROM games for systems from Sony, Sega, NEC, and SNK out of the box, with the expansion modules covering a variety of cartridge-based systems such as the NES, TurboGrafx 16, and Sega Genesis. The device will also connect to an online store to download retro games online. However, the system and modules will also come with some of the games built in. Previously, the TG16 list was not available. However, Playmoji finally announced the games that will be included with that particular module last week. These games are the North American versions of Double Dungeons and Motor Rotor, as well as the Japanese versions of Double Dungeons, Dragon Egg, Motor Rotors 1 and 2, and Shockman. In addition, the upcoming console will also feature an optional gun controller that is compatible with all supported systems on high-definition televisions, which is a technological first. The base console, which gets you CD-ROM compatibility, some built-in games, and a wireless all-purpose controller, will sell for just under $300, with the expansion module selling for under $60 each. In addition, extra controllers will sell for under $30, and the retro gun controller is expected to cost under $100. The Polymega is currently available for pre-order, with such orders shipping later this summer, and will be made available to the general public later this fall. This past Friday, Limited Run Games began accepting pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch and PC editions of the 25th anniversary edition of Double Switch. Originally released back in 1993 by Digital Pictures, it had been previously remastered by Screaming Villains last November for the PlayStation 4 on physical and digital media. However, it has now been ported officially to the Nintendo Switch and the PC. The full-motion video game starred actors Corey Haim and R. Lee Ermey, alongside of singer Debbie Harry, and featured music by Thomas Dolby. A standard Nintendo Switch version comes to you on physical cartridge from Limited Run Games with a standard box and manual, alongside of a collector's edition being offered in limited quantities, where you will also get a die-cut box that is designed to look like the original PC release of the game. You will also get with that release a poster featuring art from illustrator Paul Mann, a never-before-seen 18-page concept document, the soundtrack on audio cassette tape, and a 25th anniversary edition logo decal. This collector's edition also has the potential to include original production material at random, such as autographed Screen Actors Guild sheets, production photos, or press kit slides. This edition, which is limited to 1,500 units, still has copies available as of the time of this podcast recording. In addition, a physical PC version is also available from Limited Run, where you also get the Steam key alongside of your purchase, and the soundtrack is also being offered on vinyl. The standard Switch edition is available for pre-order until August 2nd and retails for just under $30. The PC version of Double Switch sells for around $35, while the collector's Switch edition runs for just under $60. The vinyl soundtrack sells for about $28, and all items are scheduled to ship out by this coming November. And finally this week, a brand new game for the Apple II computer lineup has been made available for download at no cost. Oubliette is a new game that has been created by programmer Daniel Henderson. In this new medieval puzzler, the player has to make their way through 7 different dungeon levels and try to obtain the prize that is located throughout each of the levels. The actual definition of an oubliette is a secret dungeon, and in the game you only have access to such dungeons through a trapdoor in its ceiling, and your ultimate goal is to escape each level, all the while trying to discover and unveil new secrets found throughout the game. Henderson spoke about his inspiration in the use of the BASIC programming language, stating, quote, "I wrote the whole thing in AppleSoft BASIC because I love it, using shape tables and data arrays. I am a firm believer that you can do anything in BASIC, and I like to push the boundaries of that theory," end quote. Featuring customizable controls, the game was developed using an original Apple IIe computer system of the era, and his usage of a computer mouse, according to him, was, quote, "especially good for drawing the high-resolution screens," end quote. All of the screens used within the game's programming were created using the 816 Paint program. In addition, Mockingbird quality sounds and effects were also created thanks to the additional help from Tom Porter. The game is currently available as a free digital download directly from the Call Apple online servers as a floppy disk image, which can also be used on your favorite Apple II emulator program or be transferred onto physical floppy disk media for use on actual hardware by means of a program such as ADT Pro. The game's release is just one more example of the infamous tagline Apple II Forever, 2 forever, continuing its legacy well into the 21st century. That's it for this week's edition of the RGN Files. For those listening on BGO1 FM, please stay tuned. There'll be more music coming up shortly. For complete details of any of this week's stories, visit RetroGameNetwork.com. And don't forget to check us out on our social media outlets on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Retro Game Network, and on Twitter and Twitch at RetroGameNet. For the RGN Files and Retro Game Network, I'm Christopher Chrisman. This week's news story is provided by the following: Bleeding Cool, Call Apple, Limited Run Games, Nintendo Life, Playmoji.